Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Today's lectures was not recorded properly because of the some technical mistakes. So I'm completing this lecture through this video, and so far we have completed up to the space matrix, and today we will be starting Boston Consultant Group Matrix, BCG Matrix. In fact, what the BCG matrix is, it is again a combination of the two axes, the x-axis or the horizontal axis and the vertical axis, where in the horizontal axis we measure the relative market share position of the firm or a division among the all other competitors, and on the y-axis or the vertical scale we are measuring the industry scale growth rate. So before explaining this matrix, I would like to explain the two terms. The relative market share position, it means that for the organization or for the division where you are going to analyze this matrix, it must be having some its share position, market share position among the all competitors. Let's say if you are having 11 or 12 firms, let's say if there are 15 firms, and out of those 15 firms you want to evaluate any one firm, single firm. So this data can be attained that that particular firm, how much that particular firm is carrying percentage profit among all. So that percentage would be called a relative market share, and that would be definitely in percentage. It would be varying from 0 to 1. You can see that we have scaled that 0 to 1 like that. On the right side, right extreme, we have scaled the 0, and gradually we are coming to this left side, and it's going up to maximum of 1. It means that from 0 to 100% your that division or that particular firm would be getting some share. So if let's say if that particular firm, out of 15 firms, if that particular firm is getting 10% of the share in the profit in the market, so 10% would be lying in near to this 0. It is less than the 0.5 or 50%. So that would be like here somewhere. So if any other firm or any other unit or any other division is carrying 60% of the profit, so that point would be more than this 50% and would be lying in this quadrant, what we are seeing, that star kind of a quadrant. So similarly, that any one division or any one firm is carrying some percentage of that profit, that would be lying somewhere in these two vertical lines. Either if it is carrying less than 50%, so that less than 50% of the profit would be located in the right side of the column, in the question mark or the dog side. Or if a firm is carrying more than the 50%, so that firm would be lying on the left side of the blocks. Either it would be on the star side or in the cash cow area. So now it's up to you that what kind of a firm or what kind of a division you want to evaluate, and the market share position can be calculated or can be can get the information from the whatever the sources are. Similarly, on the left side on the vertical axis, you are seeing that the industry sale growth rate is being measured, and what the industry is. So those 15 firms which are doing in the market, though in collective, all those 15%, whether they are growing or not in collective. So in collective, the growth of the industry would be calculated over here, and that calculation, you can see that we have shown the 0 as the medium point, and it's going up to the 20%, is going down to the 20% in negative. So that range can be varied, because if I'm going 0 to 20%, it means that the firm's maximum growth during the time that is gone up to the 20%. If you can see that the particular industry can get more than 20%, it going to the 25%, it going to the 30%, it going even to the 40%. So for that maximum point you can take up, and then you decide about that this range should be from 0 to 20 or 0 to 30 or 0 to 40. So if it is 0 to 40 in the plus side, so it should be 0 to 40 in the negative side as well. So that 20% growth is being, let's say, it is being measured by the, again, the information you are collecting from the market, and you can see the highest maximum growth, and you can take that highest maximum growth as the extreme of these x's. So now if you have calculated the relative market share position and relative the industry sale growth rate, then you can locate your that particular firm or particular division among this four quadrants. You can see that these four quadrants is being termed as the question mark in the first quadrant. In the second quadrant there is a star, in the third quadrant there is a cash flow, and in the fourth quadrant there is a dog firm. It means that a firm, if it is lying in this block, in this second quadrant, it would be called a star firm. What would be the star firm? A star firm would be that one which is having highest relative market share, more than the 50%, and the industry at all is being growing somewhat in a positive manner. So if the industry is going in the positive growth with the high relative market share position of a particular firm, so that firm would be lying up to this quadrant of a star. And if you see that the market is being growing in positive term, but the relative market share position is not good enough for that particular firm, so that particular firm or division would be lying in this first quadrant, which is called question mark. Then the third quadrant is called like cash cows, and cash cows firms are those which are having highest market shares in the competitors, but the industry in total is not growing in positive manner, it is having a negative growth. So that firm is called a cash cows kind of a firm. And ultimately the last one is a dog firm. Dogs firm are those firms which are not even having a good share position, they are having less than the 50% market share position, and cash and industry is not even growing in positive term. So industry is also in negative kind of a growth with the lesser market share position, so your firm would be coming into that quadrant. So that's how you can evaluate your firm and locate your firm into these four quadrants. And once if you locate your firm or division's position, that that particular firm or division is lying into the question mark or into the star box or into cash cows, or if the division is dog, then you can decide up to the appropriate policy for the future. So all this is being explained here in these two slides: what is question mark, what is star firm, what is cash cows, and what is dog, and I have already told you. But here some suggestive policies and strategies are being given. So these businesses which are comes in the question marks, so these businesses are called question marks because of the organization must decide whether to strengthen them by the pursuing an intensive strategies like market penetration, market development, or product development, or to sell them. So if your firm is lying into that question mark kind of a quadrant where you are getting low relative market share, but the industry is growing good, so with the highest growth in industry but the lesser share position of your firm, so you have to decide whether to strengthen the firm or the organization by intensive strategies. So intensive strategies are most appropriate strategies or suggestive strategies for the question mark kind of a firm. So what are the intensive strategies? These are the market penetration, market development, or the product development. Either you can penetrate in the market. Penetration, you know what it means. Market penetration means that when you increase your demand into the present market for the present product, or if you can do it very well, you can go for it. But if you want to develop new markets or you want to improve your product, so by these strategies you can come up with the good results. And next, if your firm lies into the star quadrant, then It represents the organization with the high relative market share and the high industry growth that should receive substantial investment to maintain and strengthen their dominant position, because high market share and high relative market share with the good growth rate requires to be maintained for the longer term, which is not an easy job, but that can be done. The market can be sustained, market can be sustainable if you go for forward, backward or horizontal integration, market penetration, market development and the product development. These are the appropriate strategies and for these divisions to consider. And similarly, if your firm is in the cash cow, so cash cow, what it means? That means that your particular firm or that division is carrying good market relative share, but the industry in total is not going good. Industry is not going good, but your that division is getting good market share. In that phase, in that kind of a case, the star cash cow division should be managed to maintain their strong position for as long as possible, because industry is not going good, but you are getting good profit. So you would like to maintain and you like to sustain carrying good profits as long as possible. So for that you go for product development or diversification, maybe attractive strategies for the strong cash cows, because your market position is among your competitors very good, though the market is not in total is going good, the industry is in the negative growth rate, but your position is very much strong, and to carry that position you go for the diversification. Either it would be relative diversification or not unrelated diversification, it's up to your decisions. So how as a cash cow division become a weak, retrenchment or divestiture can become more appropriate. So if cash cow divisions become weak, it means that you are in the cash cow, but you are having a not relative market share position good to the closer to the 100%, you are nearby with the 50%, 60 or 55%. So it means that you are losing your market share as well. So in that case, you can go for the what we say retrenchment. Retrenchment, you know that the by retrenchment we mean to sell some division to the private sector. Or to go for the cut cost strategy. Then the last one is the dogs firm. Dogs firm is those firms which are carrying a less market share position in the competitors, and as well as the whole industry is not going good. Whole industry is in the negative kind of a growth phase. So in that case, growth rate should be received substantial investment to maintain and strengthen their this is the dog firm. So the organization have a low relative market share position, and they compare the slow or no market growth industry. They are dogs in the firm portfolio because of their weak internal and external position. These businesses are often liquidated, invested or trimmed down through the retrenchment. So retrenchment is again would be the suggestive policy for that particular quadrant. And when a division first become a dog, retrenchment can be the best strategy to pursue, because many dogs have bounced back after strenuous assets and the cost reduction and become viable, profitable divisions. So these are the appropriate strategy for these four quadrants. And now how would you locate your organization into that quadrant? I will be explaining this procedure. So in this slide I have written all those appropriate policy into each quadrant. You can see that in the question mark I have written the market penetration, market development, product development, divestiture. And in the second quadrant, the stars firm, backward, forward, horizontal integration are being presented. Market penetration, market development and product development is also existing in that quadrant. And in the third quadrant, which are the cash cows, so here the product development, diversification and retrenchment, divestiture is needed. And the same way in the dogs quadrant, the retrenchment and divestiture and liquidation policies are being suggested. And in the x-axis you can see that the market share position is scaled from 0 to 1. Obviously there is a midpoint of the 50% of the market share, and on the horizontal axis vertical axis it is from low to high, and medium point is the 0. And you can see that the plus 20 and minus 20 is being scaled as per suggestion by the record. If your record contains more than the 20% let's say 25 or 30%, you can take up with that maximum extreme to the positive sides and as well as the negative side. But here, because 20 and plus 20 and negative 20 might be would be recorded as the history says of the industry, that this particular industry doesn't go more than 20%, and does, so that's why the plus and minus 20 extremes are being evaluated. And here you can see a little smaller bigger circle, so that circle shows your current position, and that current position might be in any kind of a quadrant. So you can see that the one division is being located in this quadrant, that is you can see the circle over here, and another circle is shown in the dogs form. So that is being located into that quadrant, and the size of that circle, because you can see that the two circles are not the same size, that size of circle obviously depends upon the whole volume what that division or that kind of a particular firm is being carried out. So to understand this, let's move further. So here is an example. You can see that in the lower part of the slide, you can see that 5 divisions are being evaluated. So for that 5 divisions would be a division of the one single firm, because if you want to evaluate your one division with the other divisions, you can do this analysis for one single organization among the division of the organization. You can do this analysis for the different organization into the complete or whole market. So you can do this analysis for the comparison between the division and between the firms wherever you think this would be applicable and appropriate. So here in this example, the 5 division of a single firm, it may be the 5 different market localities, like let's say if I am running a company into the 5 different cities, so it might be different 5 division of the different 5 cities. So it might be number 1 division would be working in the Lahore, or number 2 division working in the Islamabad, number 3 division working in the Karachi, number 4 division working in Peshawar, and number 5 division working in any other city. So you can evaluate these different division for each other as well. So it's up to you what kind of analysis you want to take on. Now what you need to do is to have a complete record of data. So you can see that the 5 division is here placed from 1 to 5, and in the next column you are seeing the revenue. The revenue from each division is being recorded here. As you can see that the first division is being carrying out the $60,000 as a revenue, and the second division or second firm is carrying out $40,000 as a profit. The third one is carrying out $40,000, fourth one is $20,000, and the last division is carrying out as a $5,000. So in total $165,000 is being earned as a revenue, but obviously in 165,000 in total would be obviously distributed in percentage if you want to, and here in the next column this is being calculated as a percentage. You can see that the 60,000 out of this 165,000 makes 37%. So it is very simple calculation. You can do it easily from the calculator by carrying out the percentage of say 60,000 out of 165,000. So that become a 37% of the percent revenues. So first division is carrying out 37%, second division carrying out 24%, third division is also 24%, fourth division is carrying out 12%, and the fifth division is carrying out 3%. So in total the 100% profit, or sorry, the revenue is being distributed among the different divisions. In the next column the profit is being calculated. You must be knowing the difference between the revenues and the profit. Revenues is the total sale, what you sell the product in overall value, but when the cost is being deducted from this revenue, then the left amount is called a profit. So if 60,000 revenues are there and 10,000 are profit, it means that the $50,000 is the cost of that production. So that cost is being subtracted from the revenues, and by subtraction we get the value of the profit. So that profit is being calculated here again. So you can see that the profit from the first division is 10%, then 5%, sorry, not 10%, $10,000. The second is $5,000. The third one is $2,000. Fourth one is $8,000, and the last one is $500. So again, we can calculate the percentage if we divide each of the profit with the total. 10,000 divided by 25,500, that becomes 39%. So 39% profit is being earned by the division first, 20% of the profit being earned by the division number 2, 8% profit is being earned by the division number 3, 31% is being earned by the 4, and 2% profit is being earned by the firm number 5. In the next column, we are having relative market share. Now this is what you get from the market. So where this 80% come from the figure, so that calculation you can collect from the Chamber of Commerce, Ministry of Industries, any other kind of a data source from where you can get the calculation. Even on the Google, in the internet, these calculations are being given. So that division is carrying out 80% of the total market share. It means that in that particular city where the division first is working in, so in that particular city, similar kind of other competitors are also working here, but your division first is carrying out 80% in total profit from that market. So it is not between the division, but it is showing that the percentage of the market share in industry at all. So because the first division is working somewhere in the market, and it is not alone, that division is being in competition with any other similar kind of a firm. So out of those firms, this particular division is carrying out 80% of the profit out of that market. Similarly, the division number 2 is working anywhere in the other city. So in that city, that division is not alone. There are some competitors as well. They are working also, but among those competitors, this division is carrying out 40% of the total market share out of that city. So similarly, all division is carrying some percentage of that particular market share. So you can see that the division first in that particular geographical area is carrying out 80% of the profit, and the division 4 that carrying out 60% of the market in the whole. So division first and division 4 is quite good. It is getting more than 50%. And in the last column, the industry, total industry sale growth is being recorded, and again this record can be attained from the Google, from the website, from the stock market, from the Chamber of Commerce, any kind of a data source you can get easily through. So you can get the figure, and you can see that division first working in the market, that market in that particular city or in that particular geographical area, that industry is being growing with the 15% of growth on average. Obviously that growth rate is not a 1 year kind of a growth rate. That would be called, that would be calculated as the average of the past 5 years or past 10 years or past 10 quarters. So whatever the data you are looking for, that can be calculated easily, or that information can be collected easily from the data source. So first division that is working in that particular city, that industry is being growing with the 15% of growth, and the division 2 where that division 2 is working, or that particular firm is working into that different geographical area, in that geographical area the overall industry is growing at 10%. The division 3 is working in the 1% growth industry, and division 4 is working with the -20. You can see that the maximum length of the growth is going up to the -20. So that's why we are giving this -20 as the maximum scale. If there were any kind of single firm which would be getting more than this 20, either 25% or 30%, so that would be our scale in that graph. So in the fifth division, that is again in the negative growth industry phase. So if you get these information, then it is quite easily you can locate your position in the BCG matrix. So you can see that your division first lying in the star box, you can see there, because your profits share is 39%, you can see here, and your industry is going about 15%. So 39 is obviously it's quite good. So 39% is your profit, relative market share is 80%. So that 80% is showing here up to close to the 1, and that 80% is being coupled with this growth rate of 15%. So here you can see that the 15% comes into this kind of a phase. So that is 15% of the industrial sale growth and 80% of the relative market share. So you lie on that particular point, and the size of the circle is your percentage profit. So you can see that the 39%, 20%, 8%, 31%, and 2%. So according to these figures, the size of that particular circle is being evaluated. So 39% with this profit circle, and what this pink kind of a color is doing, that is showing the percent revenues. You can see that 37% revenue is being earned. So that 37% is being shown by this pink kind of a angle. So here the complete information is being recorded in this in that BCG matrix. So now again, your first division is 80% relative market share, and with in the 15% of the industry growth sale, here it is located, and that 39% the weight and huge size explains this size of the circle. For the second division, you can see that the market share is 40%, and industry growth is 10%. So industry growth is 10% here. So here we are coming, and the relative market share is 40% located here. So here you located the second division with the 20% of the profit. So 20 and 39% is a different figure, so that you can see the size of the circle is also different. So your second division and as well as the third division both lies in the what we can say that the question mark kind of a quadrant. Then the fourth one with the negative growth and the high market share, it is located in the cash cows, and with the negative growth and as well as the less market share, that lies in the dogs farm. So in that case, you can locate your own division, you can decide about your future. So what are the suggested policies? It is already explained that this kind of a first division would go for what? Would go for market penetration, market development, and product development if it want to sustain its position into the market. And the question mark farm, if it want to get rebounds, so you can go for what? You can go for the market penetration, market development, product development, and divestiture policies. And the fourth division lies in the cash cows kind of a quadrant, and that cash cows kind of a firm and organization requires to go for the product development, diversification, retrenchment, and divestiture. And the fifth division lying in the dogs area, and in that dogs area the retrenchment policy, divestiture, and liquidation is the better policies. So here you can decide about your own organization, your own division with the better strategies, suggested strategies, and these strategies are being suggested by the market specialists, by the authors, by the scholars, by the different kind of researchers. So you can trust them at all. Similarly, another example is there. You can now go to explain by yourself. It is for example for you. So we have done with the BCG matrix, and the next one is internal and external matrix. Okay, ji. The next one is IE matrix, internal and external matrix. What internal and external matrix are? You have already done it. You have internal, external matrix, position the organization, various division in 9-cell display illustrated in the figure 6.9. It is like that one. Here the thing is the same, but here is little difference. Here we are using not the market share and not even the industry position, but here we are doing the total of IFE. If you have remember, you have done it initially, internal factor evaluation matrix. In the chapter number 6, initially we have done it, and here on the vertical you go for the EFE, total weighted score, external factor evaluation and matrix. If you remember, I would go into the initial phases, and if you remember, let me, yes, this is one. So we have explained in the previous lectures the internal evaluation matrix, where the total was 2.5, and how we have done it you know very well. And similarly, in the next phase we have explained the external factor evaluation matrix with a total of 2.58. So internal factor have given us the total of where is internal, the 2.5 was the internal factor evaluation matrix, and external matrix that has given us the 2.58 total score. So by taking these total scores, now we are in position to locate here. So IE matrix is similar to the BCG matrix in that both tools involve plotting, organization, division, and systematic diagram. This is why they are both called portfolio matrices. That BCG matrix and IE matrix, they are collectively called the portfolio matrices. And also the size of the each circle represent the percentage sales contribution. As I told you that the size of this particular circle shows you the sales, the revenues. And the pie slice reveals the percentage profit. The pie slice means that this pink area that shows the percentage profit. So I have already explained here in the BCG matrix. But there are some important difference between the BCG matrix and IE matrix. In BCG matrix, the axes were different, because in the BCG matrix, on the vertical axis there was a relative market share, and on the horizontal axis, in the horizontal axis the relative market share were recorded, and in the vertical axis there is an industrial sales growth was recorded. But here it is not like that. Here the scale is being evaluated or measured like that. In the horizontal axis we will go for the IFE total, and you know that IFE total or EFE total they both go from 0 to 4. So that's why it is being from 1 to 4, because there was no 0 scale was there. There were 4 categories. Either you are if you remember the ratings, so we have recorded the rating from 1 to 4. So that's how you can see that 1, 2, 3 and 4 these different kind of scales are being recorded here. And similarly EFE, again the total was in between from 1 to 4, so that 1, 2, 3, 4 are also being scaled here. So this 4 divisions makes 3 different areas. One is from 1 to 2, second is from 2 to 3, and third one is from 3 to 4. Similarly here again from 1 to 2 on the vertical axis, from 2 to 3 and 3 to 4. So that makes 3 columns and 3 rows. So from 3 columns and 3 rows, the 9 different quadrants are being measured here. And then you can locate your firm easily, because you have already calculated your particular that IFE score and EFE score. So by locating your firm might be lying either into that phase from 1, 2 or 4th quadrant. You can see that it is not a quadrant in fact, but box is what we can say. So box number 1, box number 2 and box number 4, it makes a similar like of a firm. What should be the name is given, there is not particular name is being given, but we can just say that this is the first phase or the first group where your organization may lie. So if you lies on the box number 1, box number 2 or box number 4, so you would go for these kind of policies. Here you can see that you go for the market penetration, you go for the market development, you go for the product development, just grow and build. But if your firm lies in this diagonal, the box number 3, box number 5 and box number 7, so if you are lying in the diagonal kind of boxes, so then you go for what? Hold and maintain. You should just you should go hold your firm and maintain by market penetration and product development. And if you lie in these three box group, box number 6, box number 8 and box number 9, then you harvest and divest. It means that you have earned bus maximum profit, but there is nothing to you anymore in this market. You can now retrench your activities or divestiture. So in our case, if you remember that our firm have 2.5 as internal IFE score and 2.58 that was external IFE score. So 2.5 and 2.58, it lies, I think, here in the fifth box. 2.5 lies right in the middle of this IFE, right in the middle of this 2.5 here, and 2.58 also lies in this middle phase. So both middle phase locating are that particular firm into the 5 number of box. So being in the 5 number of box, I must hold and maintain my position, and that position is being held or being held and maintained by the market penetration. I should introduce some marketing strategies for earning more customer attention and through some marketing activities. And then I go for the product development as well, product development to improve product. Now how to improve it? Obviously your research and development division would be saying that. So this is all about the internal external matrix, and the last one is grand strategy matrix. Grand strategy matrix, you can see here again there are 4 quadrants: quadrant number 1, quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3 and quadrant number 4. So what in the quadrant number 1, you can see that the market development, market penetration, product development, forward integration, backward integration, horizontal integration and related diversification. In the quadrant number 2, market development, market penetration, product development, horizontal integration, divestiture and liquidation policies. Quadrant number 3, there are retrenchment, related diversification, unrelated diversification, divestiture and liquidation are here. And in the quadrant number 4, the related diversification, unrelated diversification and joint ventures are there. But when we will go for those policies, so here the scale is being now like there: strong competitive position and weak competitive position, that is being scaled here in the axis. Now there is no mathematical or numerical values here. The management and the manager would decide that the market position or competitive position is good or bad. If all the managers are agreed, if all the experts are agreed that the market competitive position is going good, it means that you are on the right side of this diagram. But if your all managers are saying that the market competitive position is not good, there is something fishy in the market, so then you can consider the left side of this diagram. Similarly, the rapid market growth, so that market growth obviously can be located by facts and figures, by the information that is coming from the market. If the market is growing good, the market is growing rapidly, speedily, so you can consider with the upper side of this diagram. And if the market is growing not that kind of speedy growth, it is slow, the revenues, the sales is becoming very slow in sluggish manner, so that in that case you can go for the lower box of the side. So just locate yourself that if the market is going rapidly and your competitive position is good, so if the market is going good rapidly and your competitive position is also strong, so you can go for the quadrant first kind of strategies. And similarly, if the market growing is rapid but your competitive position is weak, then you go for the quadrant 2 kind of strategies. And if your market competitive position is strong but the market growth is sluggish, your competitive position is strong but the market growth is sluggish, then you go for the related and unrelated diversification and joint venture to stay in the market. And if the market is growing rapidly but your competitive position is not that much good, so you are in the quadrant number 3, and in that quadrant number 3 you go for the retrenchment, related diversification, unrelated diversification, divestiture and liquidation policies. So these are explained here, and this is all about the chapter number 6. I am sorry that today that lecture could not be completed in one go because of the technical problem in the mic, but I have quickly overviewed this slide, and if any one of you are having some kind of a question or some kind of a discussion, he can contact me on my WhatsApp number, or we can go for another session on the Zoom on your requirement for question and answer session. So this is all about for the chapter number 6. The chapter number 6 is being completed, and from next week we will be starting the chapter number 7. Thank you very much.